Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this week's Football Coaches Media Teleconference. I'd like to thank everyone for joining us today. We are now joined with Shawn, the head coach of App State. If you have a question for Coach, please dial *1 on your phone at this time. Again, *1 to get in the queue. Coach, thank you very much for joining us today. Would you mind starting us off with the opening statement?
Yeah, proud of our team, everyone in our organization, of getting a win versus a quality opponent. And we came back on Thursday afternoon and kind of flipped the script, and we've moved on to Monroe. Our goal is to be 1-0, and Coach Bowden has his team playing at a high level, and we have all of our work cut out for us this week.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate that. Again, to remind our member of the media, it is a *1 to get in the queue. Our first questions come from Dan McDonald with the Advocate. Please go ahead, Dan.
Morning, Coach. I know that Chase Bryce and Malik Williams and Corey Sutton got a lot of headlines, but how big a key was it that you were able to hold them to 55 yards rushing, less than 2 yards a carry, and really nothing over 12 yards?
It was big. I mean, if you take the first two drives out, I thought our defense played very well. And it was really just reading our keys and playing fast. We simplified the game plan and really just about fitting your gaps and getting 11 halves to the ball. And our guys played very well Wednesday night.
Was there one or two things you could put your finger on that were hugely improved? Because I know you were disappointed the week before, and now they'll turn around and play, as solid a game as you probably played all year.
I think it goes back on our defense. You have to be able to fit gaps, and Louisiana was able to get us out of our gaps from different scenarios. And it was really, I think the guys had a very good grasp on the game plan, and they executed at a high level.
Have you looked at enough Monroe tape to kind of tell the areas that they have made improvements since the start of the year, and especially since last year?
Well, I think you look at their whole program. I think Coach Bowden's done a great job of coming in and really reestablishing their identity. I mean, you look at their +8 on turnovers, and they don't turn the football over, and when the opposing team turns it over, they score touchdowns. So they had an outstanding quarterback in Chandler Rogers, and look at their running back, Henry, and they have two really good receivers, Boogie Knight and Sparks. And then on defense, and they're playing lights out on defense. So we're just trying to get a first down right now.
Your team has its destiny is in your hands. Do you have any issues with your guys, focusing on one game at a time and not looking ahead at the prize at the end?
No, it's every week has its own issues, and this week it's Monroe, and our goal has always been 1-0, and I thought our guys did a great job bouncing back last week and making it the goal. And we knew if we won that game that we kind of control our destiny. But every week's going 1-0 because every game has its own problems.
If I could ask one other thing, kind of look to the future, what's been your reaction to the Sun Belt's very likely expansion, and is this another validation of where the league has come over the last few years?
To be honest, I haven't looked much on the expansion. I know our Chancellor Everett, and athletic director Doug Gillen's done a great job of putting us in position to whatever happens. And our program's built on solid ground, so whatever happens, happens. And we just got to get ready for Monroe.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Thank you, Dan. Our next questions come from Kyle Kinsing with Athlon Sports. Please go ahead, Kyle.
Thank you very much. Coach, I wanted to ask about Wednesday's game, and just, you've obviously been part of so many big wins at the Rock, but what did the atmosphere of that game on Wednesday sort of mean, for the state of the program, the future of the program?
I mentioned this earlier. Our program's built on solid ground, and if you go back and look at our attendance record over the last 5 or 6 years, I mean, it's been outstanding. It was the fourth largest crowd in the history of our program was Wednesday night And we have a very passionate fan base, and anytime you can sell your stadium out on Wednesday evening, I think it speaks volumes for what kind of program you have. And it's not easy to get to Boone. You're an hour and a half from Winston-Salem, 2 hours from Charlotte, and our fan base was very supportive and made a major difference in our game Wednesday night.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Kyle, and thank you, Coach. Really appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
All right, we are joined with head coach Jamey Chadwell of Coastal Carolina. A question for Coach, please dial *1 on your phone at this time. Again, *1 to get in the queue. Coach, thank you for joining us today. Would you mind starting us off with a opening statement? Actually, Coach, if you could hang on here 1 second, we need to open up your line. If our operators could please open up Coach Chadwell's line. Coach, thank you for joining us. Would you mind starting us off with the opening statement?
Yes. We're excited about being back here at home. Obviously came off a tough loss last week, and a lot of things we can learn from and get better. And we're playing a very talented Troy University team, probably arguably the best defense that we've seen up to this point. They're really, really good, so big challenge for our football team to try to get back on track here. Glad to be playing on a Thursday night. That's another opportunity for us to be on TV, so looking forward to that.
Thank you, Coach. Our first questions come from Kyle Kinsey with Athlon Sports. Please go ahead, Kyle.
Thank you. And thank you for your time, Coach. Obviously Wednesday wasn't the result that you wanted, but those games like that and BYU last season with those sort of atmospheres and the spotlight on your program, how invaluable are those moments to growing, what's a new program?
Well, I mean, it's you'd obviously love to come out with a win, but when you play in big games and you have opportunities to win, and it helps continue to build what you're about. It allowed us to showcase what we're trying to do here and the things that we're trying to build in our program, some consistency every year. And so those will only, games like that will help pay dividends down the road. Now we got to win some, obviously, for it to get to pay the big dividends. But I think what we're showing and what our program's trying to develop, obviously, is earn respect through this league and throughout G5, and taking steps like we did the other night is going to help us do that.
And you mentioned that building respect for the conference, and obviously the Sun Belt has been kind of at the forefront of the G5 conversation. And what does it mean for your program to be sort of at the forefront of leading that move into the conference's future?
Well, we've said all along that we feel like this is the best G5 league in the country. We believe that, and I think when you play games like we did the other night on a national stage, two really good teams. Going back and forth, coming down to the last second, I think that shows you the talent and the coaching and all and the atmosphere and environment here. As good as our league is, and the more and more we're on TV, and the more and more that our teams play against each other, I think you see that. And so that's something that we feel strongly about, that this league is that good, top to bottom.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Kyle. Our next questions come from Alan Blondin with the Myrtle Beach Sun News. Please go ahead, Alan.
Hey, Jamey.
Hey, Alan.
Do you, obviously you guys had, grand goals this year. Did you kind of, did you envision, if you had a loss, there being this deflation within the program that you would have to overcome? And did you already kind of have a plan for that? Knowing that it was a possibility?
Well, obviously, you have a chance to get beat anytime. And the thing, Alan, the whole thing that we talked about, we never laid out there, hey, let's go undefeated. Do you want to accomplish those things? But I never actually, with our team on paper anywhere said, hey, we're going to, this is what we're trying to achieve. It was more so about us playing better and playing our best each week. And so sometimes you don't, and we didn't, and our opponent had a lot to do with that. And so now is when that when you do struggle, when you don't win a game you hope you had or had chances to, and there's a disappointment. This is when the leadership of your seniors and your older guys. This is when that really needs to step up, because it's can't be just about one game. It's about the process of being better every week and coming back and playing. And so, was there disappointment? Sure, but I don't. I'm 100% confident that there wasn't going to be a deflation that hey, that was the end all. And so we're going to regroup, which we have, and come back and go out and try to play our best this week versus another quality opponent.
And having played on a Wednesday, I assume you've had a couple practices since. So how do you feel the team has come with the energy and even not just the players but the coaching staff and all since then?
Well, I think it's good. Anytime you get beat, it's like you're dirty. You got a stink on you. You want to go take a shower, and the only way to take a shower is to go out and play well on your next game. And so, the players had Thursday off after the game there, and they had and coaches, we obviously work, but you have your chance to moan and all the different things about it. Then you move on, and you got to go on to the next one. This is a long season, and this league is too hard to allow one loss to lead into 2 or 3 or 4. And that's the thing that we shared with them is don't allow one loss to derail what you're trying to accomplish. And so I think we've had good energy. I think they've had good focus. They know how good the team we are playing has been. I mean, we've had 2 games the last 2 years that have came down to basically one of the very last plays of the game. So we know this is another challenge. So our team has had to, get over the loss we had quickly and move forward. And so I've been pleased so far with their effort and their focus.
Okay, thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Alan. We have time for one more with Dan McDonald with the Advocate. Please go ahead, Dan.
Morning, Coach. One quick future-type question. What was your reaction to the Sun Belt's very likely expansion now, and is that sort of a validation of how far the league's come in the last few years?
I've not really looked into it much. Obviously, I've seen some of the rumors or whatever it is out there. I trust that other universities know how good this league is. I trust that our commissioner and his people understand the plan that they're putting in place for this expansion, that they're going to get the best teams possible to help this league stay where we are as far as the top G5 in the country. And so whenever that shakes down, whenever everything's official, I won't be surprised that our league will have gotten a lot better and stronger, just because of the leadership that we have and also the way that our teams and our coaches are coaching. I think there'll probably be a lot of people that want to be a part of what they see here, and whenever that does happen, we'll comment on it.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Dan, and thank you, Coach. We do appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
All right, and moving right along, we are now joined with Kane, the head coach of South Alabama. If you have a question for Coach, please dial *1 on your phone at this time. Again, *1 to get in the queue. Coach, thank you for joining us today. Would you mind starting us off with an opening statement?
Yeah, obviously disappointing in our level of execution on Saturday against Louisiana Monroe. I thought they did a tremendous job of playing with great energy and effort, and schematically I think they present some real challenges on offense, and I think Rich Rod and Terry have done a tremendous job over there in getting their guys to play very hard and understand what they ask them to do. We have got to play with a more consistent effort and a more consistent execution on this football team. That has been the Achilles heel at South Alabama for years. I was a part of that in the past, and certainly as we move forward in the present and the future, that to me is what we have to do. We've got to be able to play games like we did against Georgia Southern with high-level execution, high-level energy and effort, and then do the same thing over and over again. And we're not to that point yet as a program, but fortune favors the bold, and we talked to our players this morning about that. You have to play consistently aggressive. You have to play bold. You have to play relentless in the details of doing your job over and over again, and also at the same time doing it with a tremendous amount of energy. And when you do that, you really narrow the margin of execution, which means that on any given day you're going to be able to operate in a very small margin of high-level success, and then that widens the margin of success. So we need to narrow the margin of execution, meaning that we know exactly what we're going to get out of our players on game day, and that will widen our margin for success.
Coach, thank you very much. As a reminder to our members of the media, to *1 to get in the queue. First questions come from Dan McDonald with the Advocate. Please go ahead, Dan.
Morning, Coach.
Morning.
Do you sort of feel like you're riding a yo-yo? You had 40 good minutes against Louisiana, really solid against Georgia Southern, and not so much the ones in between.
Yeah, I think that has been that's been the identity of this program over the years, is the inconsistency. We've shown the ability to play big games. We've shown the ability to take a punch in a game, even this season, and then go back to work. But can we do that consistently when things aren't necessarily going well all the time? And that, to me, is where we have to grow. That's where we have to get better as a program, and it starts with just the fine details have to show up on game day. We're becoming a better practice team. Our culture is getting better. We're operating better, but you have an opportunity on any given Saturday or Thursday or whenever you play, you get 3 hours to go show what you are made of and what you're capable of executing. And all those things you do in practice have to show up on game day. And right now, we are not doing that to consistency, and that's what we have to build moving forward.
What do you see from Arkansas State? They obviously put something together in the open date and probably played their best game last weekend.
I thought so. I mean, I really, I think it's always a credit to the coaches and the players. You know, when you're sitting at 1-5 against a team like Louisiana and you compete your tails off, and schematically, I thought Keith Heckendorf did a tremendous job of challenging their defense, who I think Louisiana does a great job on defense. And then, I thought Arkansas State and what Rob Harley is bringing to that group, they played with a tremendous amount of energy. They played hard. They played fast. And I think when you're 1-5 and you can show up and do that, I think it's a credit to what Butch and the rest of his staff have been able to do on that team to create a relentless mindset where they're going to continue to fight. And I expect the same from them on Saturday against us.
If I could ask one more question, sort of a future look. The word is that you're going to get another nearby Sun Belt rival in Southern Miss and some other schools coming in the league. What was your initial reaction to all of that, and is that, again, a validation of where this league's come over the last few years?
Well, here's what I think, and I've said this before. We have an opportunity when you look at these other conferences and the realignments and all those things and the level of consistency and play in the Sun Belt, we have an opportunity to establish ourselves as a premier league in the group of five. And that, to me, is really exciting. First and foremost, we have to stick together in that. The teams that are in this league that have built this league to where it is today have to stick together, and that's first and foremost. And I'm sure we are attractive to other schools and other programs. And to me, the opportunity that we've created for ourselves has made ourselves attractive to others. And yet at the same time, it's put us in a position to where we can really create more impact in the greater landscape of college football. And that's exciting for every team in this league.
Appreciate it, Coach.
All right. Thank you, guys.
All right. Thank you, Dan. And thank you, Coach. Appreciate your time. Everyone can stand by. We'll be back with Jake Spavital of Texas State here shortly. Please stand by. And we are joined with Jake Spavital, the head coach of Texas State. If you have a question for Coach, please dial *1 on your phone at this time. Again, *1 to get in the queue. Coach, thank you for joining us today. Would you mind starting us off with the opening statement?
Yeah, tough loss last week versus a really good Georgia State team, man. I thought Coach Elliott's done a really good job there in terms of just building that program. I thought that they dominated us up front at the line of scrimmage. That was kind of really the outcome of the game, in my opinion. They did a good job at running the ball pretty efficiently, and then they also did a good job at really minimizing our run game. And offensively, we played behind the chains majority of the game. We had 15 negative plays, and they had 1 negative play. So you could see that the game was won and lost right there, in the trenches. But that also led to red zone field goals when, in that game we needed to score touchdowns. I thought the defense played well enough for us to win that game. Offensively, we just didn't, produce the way that we should be producing. But, overall, what I look at our team and you see why we lost that game. It was a lot due to the physicality of Georgia State up front, and a lot is the inconsistency of our execution. We had a lot of missed tackles. We were in position to really get a few turnover on downs, or especially get off the field. And, they did a good job at, breaking tackles, and we did a poor job at tackling. And then, vice versa on the offensive side. We didn't do a very good job at, making big plays, our simple execution, too many drop balls, too many penalties, playing behind the chains, and they got us in third down and long a lot of that for a majority of that game. But all credit to Georgia State and what they're doing there at that program. And I do think that our team plays extremely hard, and we get a lot of compliments after every game of playing extremely hard. But that's not doing it right now. We got to keep playing extremely hard, but we got to start playing cleaner football and not beating ourselves. But got another quality opponent. Obviously this is a great league, a tough league, and excited for an opportunity to play Louisiana on this Saturday at 11 o'clock kickoff in Lafayette, which I think is going to be a great game. It's going to be a great experience for us to be a part of, and I'm looking forward to getting out to Lafayette and playing this Saturday. So questions, please.
Thank you, Coach. Just a reminder to members of the media, star one to get in the queue. First questions come from Dan McDonald with The Advocate. Please go ahead, Dan.
Morning, Coach. You talked about Georgia State's success running the ball. Was it something they were doing schematically, or was it just that control up front? And what do you try to do against, you're going to be facing another team that also pretty much likes to run the football?
Yeah, I thought our kids were in the right position majority of that game. We didn't have really any busted assignments. Where we struggled with was we were in position, we just didn't make the tackles. It was the execution side of it. We knew that they're going to do some unique things, from a scheme standpoint, just because how explosive they are with their quarterback run game, and it's very unique, and we don't see very many teams that do that. But just where we're at, we got to be able to execute that and then make those tackles and do it consistently throughout the course of the day. And we did some good things at certain moments, but there was a lot of times where we missed those tackles where we could have got off the field. So we're gonna have to step up to the challenge this week. Obviously, they're coming off of a 454-yard rushing performance versus Arkansas State, which we know that they're going to run the ball, and we're going to have to be able to do it consistently for 4 quarters, not just just do it half of the time. It really kind of been the message with our team moving forward this week.
Offensively, it looked like every time I looked in, your guys are in second and long, third and long. Is it just a matter of being more consistent, especially on first down?
Yeah, we were moving backwards, I felt like half the time. I thought they did a very good job at establishing the line of scrimmage. We weren't, for certain play calls that I thought could have gotten us, like a 6, 7, 8, yard gain. We were getting really about a 1 to 2 yard gain because they were fighting. They're getting off blocks. They were very disruptive up front, and they did a very good job. And for order for us to have success, and the teams that we've had the most success with offensively is when we establish a run game and we're in manageable third downs, because we were in third down and long majority of that game, like you were saying, Don. And it just gets difficult, to get through progression when they know that you're going to have to pass in certain downs. And, they can really ease back their call and just go back and try to rush the rush the quarterback. And that's what they did to us. And we were successful at times, but, a majority of the time, if our first read wasn't there, getting to that second read was pretty difficult for us.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Thanks, Don.
All right. Thank you, Dan, and thank you, Coach. That's all the questions we have for today. Do appreciate your time.
I appreciate it. Thanks, Travis. Bye.
Thank you. Everyone, stand by. We'll be back with Kevin Whitley, the interim head coach at Georgia Southern, here shortly. Please stand by. All right, thank you for holding, everybody. We're now joined with Kevin Whitley, the interim head coach at Georgia Southern. If you have a question for Coach, please dial star 1 on your phone at this time. Again, star 1 to get in the queue. Coach, thank you for joining us. Apologize about the technical issues. Would you mind starting us with the opening statement?
Yeah, no problem. It just rung one time and hung up on me, so I'm good.
Would you mind starting us off with the opening statement, Coach?
Yes, no problem, definitely. Thank you guys for having us. We coming off a bye week. We feel like we got our guys healthy. We got our guys in a good spot from a mental standpoint, so we're just excited about finishing the season strong. So we know we got a good team coming in this week. It's a rivalry. It's also a homecoming game for us, so should expect a big crowd, and we're excited about the opportunity.
Thank you, Coach. First questions come from Nathan with the Savannah Morning News. Please go ahead, Nathan.
Hi, Coach. How are you doing?
I'm great. How you doing, Nathan?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Coach. with the time between games, were you guys able to get away a little bit and take kind of a mental break, maybe even for part of one day? Did you ever able to go anywhere?
Yes, definitely. First of all, we got to get out for recruiting. So we were able, from a coaching staff standpoint, we were able to get away, and our players got some time off. So it was much needed, just kind of recharge the batteries and get ready to finish this last part of the season. So we did take some time off from a coaching standpoint. We got out of the office just because we were on the road recruiting.
Mm-hmm. Did any players, you mentioned about health, is anybody coming back and able to play this Saturday that hasn't been able to play for a while, and who would that be?
Yeah, well, first of all, we had Randy, number 47. He's back. He was in the COVID protocol. That's why he missed last week. And then we just had some guys that are banged up. Amari Jones, ankle. We had Caleb Hood. I mean, just a lot of guys banged up. We were able to get back. Some of those guys just been playing through injury. So we're just excited to kind of get everybody back healthy. Tyler Bryant, ankle. Darryl Baker, forearm, and also an ankle. So those guys, much needed rest. And some of those guys are not 100%, but they're not 70% either like they were a few weeks ago.
So the timing of the off week was good from a health standpoint. Did you guys have any kind of special meeting or anything maybe out of the ordinary with this extra time to kind of talk things out about the season?
Yeah, not really, not anything that was extra. I think kind of week was already planned out in advance, so it wasn't like it was something that we did that we didn't know we would do. But we did have an opportunity to meet. We had to go back and evaluate players and coaches, and just trying to get back on a winning note. So I think the time off was good from, like I said, a health standpoint, and a mental standpoint. Also, it helped me from an organizational standpoint, just trying to have a little more input on both sides of the ball. So excited about, like I said, this week we have good practice tomorrow. Our guys are off today for academics, and we'll come back tomorrow and be ready to go.
Okay. Thank you, Coach. See you soon. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate the question.
All right. Thank you, Nathan. We have time for one more with Dan McDonald. Dan, please go ahead.
Morning, Coach.
Good morning. How you doing?
Doing well. Georgia State obviously got the running game going last weekend. Is there, is that what you're sort of primarily focused on this week, or what are you trying to do that you think is going to be the biggest keys this weekend, especially in a rivalry game?
Yeah, no doubt. I think in anything in a rivalry game, you want to definitely try to have your guys ready for the emotional part of it. I think both teams will come out with a lot of energy. But the key to it is just maintaining that energy through 4 quarters and that intensity through 4 quarters. As far as offensively, like you said, were able to establish the run. And anytime you can establish a run, that opens up your passing game. They have really good receivers. They've made a switch at quarterback, so they got really 2 good quarterbacks now. Number 3 transfer from Furman, and then they had the guy from last year, number 4. So, our job is just to hopefully contain, don't give up big plays, and then control the running game. We got to be able to tackle. We got to be able to run to the ball and just play good team defense.
Appreciate it, Coach.
No, thank you.
All right. Thank you, Dan, and thank you, Coach. We do appreciate your time today.
All right, no doubt. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you. All right, we're now joined with Butch Jones, the head coach of Arkansas State. If you have a question for Coach, please dial *1 on your phone at this time. Coach, thank you for joining us today. Would you mind starting us off with the opening statement?
Sure. Well, coming off of Thursday night's contest, I did think we made some progress and some strides in building our program. I liked, finally our players, our mindset. I thought we took tremendous progress in terms of our expectations, in terms of competing for 60 minutes, the positive energy, the effort, but still at the end of the day, it's about learning how to play winning football. And we left about 8 points out there. When you haven't settled for field goals in the red area and you play quality opponents like we've been playing, you cannot kick field goals in the red area. You have to be able to score touchdowns, and then obviously explosive plays. Just didn't handle some of the critical downs. But I did think we made some progress, and another great challenge of being on the road, going to Mobile to play South Alabama. Very, very impressive football team. when you look at them defensively. They have 8 interceptions on the season. They take the ball away, tackles for loss. They play exceptionally hard. And then offensively, it all starts with Jake Bentley. He's doing a great job of really running and managing and controlling their offense. And it all starts with Jalen Tolbert at the wide receiver position. So playing a very good football team on the road, and I think that's the next thing is our players' understanding of what it takes to prepare on a weekly basis to be able to go in and play your best football on the road in this conference.
Thank you very much, Coach. Our first questions come from Luke Matheson. Luke, please go ahead.
Well, Coach, kind of as you said, just a full 4-quarter came from you guys. One big thing stood out to me was 2 quarters in that game you did not allow the opponent to score, but also a noticeable difference in how the team performed. I've kind of heard some things behind the scenes about some team building and some things you guys did during the bye week to help with that. Could you talk about that a little bit and the progress you saw in the guys?
Well, I think first of all is we have a good group of young men in our program, and they're very prideful. And I think first of all, they put so much stress and anxiety on themselves. And we talked about it's not about winning right now. It's about working to be the best version of yourself every day. And it gets back to what we've kind of been talking about since day one when we came in here. It's don't worry about the results. The results take care of themselves if you follow the process and you do the right thing. So I think we just kind of went back. We spoke about that. We spent time, again, kind of revisiting of getting to know each other. There's so many great stories, that are on our football team of where individuals are from and their backgrounds and kind of the struggles and trials and tribulations that they've gone through in their life. So we took, some more time to really, truly grow as a football program, a team, and kind of really just get to know each other. And I thought that was very beneficial.
I've heard you several times talk about that very thing, trusting the process, learning to win, and things that the entire team has to do. And one thing that I noticed, especially in the post-game press conferences, I saw it not only on your face and in your eyes and in the way you spoke, but also the 3 players, Lane and JoJo and everybody else that spoke, you could see that pain, that desire to win, and just that desire to get better.
Well, that's what we've talked about is, being a relentless competitor for 60 minutes. And quite frankly, we've had to teach a lot of individuals in this program of really what it takes to prepare, your pride in performance, but, what it takes to compete for 60 minutes and being a relentless competitor and really kind of laying the things out. You look at those 3 individuals, they comprise what a relentless competitor is. But, we've had to teach everything in this program from ground zero in terms of how you prepare the mindset, how you go about your daily business and academics, and then, just what does it take to play winning football, the intensity, how you prepare week in and week out with that same level of intensity, and then going through an in-season strength and performance program and all those things. And our kids have been very good with it. It's just we've had to probably, of all the programs I've been associated with, we probably have really had to start really teaching them our expectations on a day-to-day basis. But they've been great. But when you have those 3 individuals that kind of champion that cause as well, it really helps.
You touched on South Alabama a little bit. What are the big things you're looking for out of the Red Wolves this week?
Well, I think just consistency and performance. And, again, doing the things that it takes to win football games. You have to execute in the red area, and they do a great job defensively of keeping you out of the end zone. We have to take care of the football on the road. We're going to face a very hungry, very well-coached football team. So, the preparation that goes into it, the mindset, and just for us is just continuing to grow and elevate and get better as a football team. That's the biggest thing, and go out there and just play and enjoy playing the game of football and understanding, playing with the intangibles that we talk about all the time, but also understanding the critical downs, situational football. And, football is a game of sequences, and that's how you maintain momentum. That's how you're able to consistently withstand momentum changes, and just understanding that a game can come down to 4 to 6 plays, and we witnessed that Thursday night against Louisiana. And you never know what 4 to 6 plays could be the difference between winning and losing. So you have to treat every play as though it has a life of its own. And then once you play the play, you have to forget about it and you have to move on. And that's a lot of the things that we have worked continuously on, you know, within our football team, is really teaching these individuals what goes into that.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Luke. And thank you, Coach. Do appreciate your time. That's all the time we have for you today.
Thank you. Have a great week.
You as well, sir. All right, everyone, stand by. We'll be back with Coach Bowden here shortly. Please stand by. And we are joined with Coach Terry Bowden, the head coach of ULM. If you have a question for Coach, please dial *1 on your phone at this time. Again, *1 to get in the queue. Coach, thank you for joining us today. Would you mind starting us off with the opening statement?
Yes, we are coming off a real nice homecoming win against South Alabama. A game that we saw a little bit of a little more explosiveness out of our offense, able to score 41 points. Defensively, we had 2 fourth-down stops, and we had 2 interceptions and some big plays that really helped us to get the win. So that we and kicking game, coverage and protection was very good. We made 2 field goals and held our own there. So awful proud of our guys. They've had a great home. We don't have many home games left, but we've had a 3-1 home game stand, and so I'm awful proud of that. We've had a 4-1 home game stand with 1 more home game left. So awful proud of our guys. And now it's just like now it's out of the frying pan into the fire with Appalachian State next up.
Thank you very much, Coach. As against our members of media, *1 to get in the queue. Our first questions come from Dan McDonald with The Advocate. Please go ahead, Dan.
Morning, Coach.
Dan.
Your guys are up at the half, and all of a sudden South scores a couple of times early in the third quarter, and before your guys came back late. Is this the kind of game that maybe a month ago that your guys might not have been able to come back and win like they did?
I don't know if it was a month or 5 weeks, but somewhere not too long ago we would not have been able to come back. There's just too much going on in your head of opportunities going by, things just going wrong, the wind just being elusive, and you begin to doubt yourself inside. I think we've had some wins now in games we're not supposed to win, and they've come down the wire. They come down to getting behind and going back on. In this particular game last week, we had momentum change from us to them to us, and back to them. And so we were able to overcome that. But you're right. It's the more you win, the more you believe you're going to win. And that can't help but improve your chances of beating football teams. And so, yeah, that's a mindset. That's just a mindset that you got to have to win close games. And type of team that we pretty much know going in, if we're going to win a game, it's probably going to be a 4-quarter game. We don't have the unload the bench type of team and start playing everybody in the second half.
You mentioned a little bit more explosive offensively. Are there 1 or 2 things you can sort of put your finger on and saying that you're doing a lot better now that maybe you weren't doing earlier in the year?
Well, I mean, quarterback position, we're getting that's not entirely true. That's obviously a big one. This young quarterback that took over Brett Rodriguez, he's beginning to understand what to do. Number 1 thing was first downs. We played Kentucky, even though we played Jackson State, we could not control first downs. We're getting 1 to 0, 1 to 2 yards to carry, always playing behind the chains a little bit or in long yardage situations. It's hard to call offense, even up tempo, if you're always second, 8, 9, 10. When you begin to be more successful on first down, it makes the rest of the downs easier. So I think that's our ability to have positive first down plays allows us to be 1 step ahead of the defense in play calling and in the games. So that's the first thing. And I think the development of our offense in the scheme that Coach Rodriguez is utilizing here. So many of our offensive players did not come here until July, They weren't here for the spring. They have to learn it while they're here, and it took a little more time to gel. And so I think just the learning the scheme and what it requires is one of the most important things we've got. And then the development of that quarterback is also big.
You talked about winning the home games, and now all of a sudden you're in second place in the Sun Belt West. What's been the reaction around the area?
Well, everybody patting you on the back. You know, you're never going to lose again. You're going to bowl games. That's the usual thing, that you have to convince. And we had to deal with this last week after beating Liberty. Everybody's got us winning every game, and I immediately went into the spin the other way. The reality is that it's just as close from the penthouse to the outhouse as it was from the outhouse to the penthouse, and I think we understand that. We don't have a great football team talent-wise. We're a bunch of grinders that we're willing to stay in the game 4 quarters. We're taking one play at a time. That we realize there's going to be times where we don't make plays. We've got to move ahead, move on, and never give up. So the town's been excited. The school's excited. The student base is excited. Our biggest problem is it's not now. We're going to play hard, and we're going to play our best. But we've got some of our best opponents already left on our schedule, including Appalachian State that I have coached against in recent years. That they know how to win from a long way back.
Coach, if I could ask one more thing, sort of a future look. What was your reaction to the recent stories? And it looks like that the Sun Belt's going to expand, a nearby team in southern Mississippi, and a couple of other teams. What does that say for the Sun Belt Conference?
I think it enhances the Sun Belt. Sun Belt is probably playing its best football now. The number of quality teams and coaches that I see in this league, and I have been in the group of 5 coaching 7 years before I came here. I see the conference at its best when I came in here to this conference. And now you add teams that are going to enhance the quality of your conference, and it's only going to make the Sun Belt even more attractive, more competitive, and more economical. The reason that being is that we have a lot of sports beside football. When you can have more regional games, then your Olympic sports have a better chance of scheduling. A lot of our players, we would rather spend money on their equipment, on quality environment than on plane trips and things like that. So I think any good quality teams that bring in, I've just been doing this a long time, from a scheduling standpoint, from an overall department standpoint, the crowd participation, attendance at games, things like that, all go up when you get as many of the local teams that can play against each other as you can.
Thank you, Dan, and thank you, Coach. We do appreciate your time today.
All righty. Thank you all.
Thank you. And moving right along, we are now joined with Billy Napier, the head coach of Louisiana. If you have a question for Coach, please dial *1 on your phone at this time. Again, *1 to get in the queue. Coach, thanks for joining us today. Would you mind starting us off with the opening statement?
Yeah, we've had a couple extra days here. We've moved forward, getting ready for Texas State, who certainly has, you can see a very much improved team. Spav's done a really good job there in improving the personnel over time. They've added some good players, and I really believe they're playing sound football in all 3 phases of their team. We've got a lot of respect for what we see on the film. I know the win-loss column maybe doesn't reflect that, but they played a lot of close games. They're playing extremely hard. The effort is impressive, and they've got some players that can create issues for you. So we're right in the middle of that preparation. We're a couple of days ahead here, but overall excited about being back at home for homecoming, playing in front of our guys, our people, and having the opportunity to compete and continue some momentum here and continue to improve. So that's all I got.
Thank you, Coach. As a reminder to members of the media, *1 to get in the queue. First questions come from Dan McDonald with The Advocate. Please go ahead, Dan.
Morning, Coach. I know you have addressed this already, but how gratifying was it for you as an offensive coach to see your team control the football for 10 minutes and end the game with the ball in your hands?
Well, it's what we needed to do. I think we had 2 turnovers in the second half, kind of let the game get out of control. I think that we needed to get back control of the game, and we did it in that possession. Certainly, when you start that possession, you don't anticipate that happening, but I thought overall we executed well at times on the drive. We did overcome a few things. I thought we had some good situational football. And then in critical moments there, executed, some good situational play across the board, at about every position. So, I think we'd like to think that that's part of our identity, that we can finish games when needed. I think you're going to have to do that as a team if you want to win a championship. And certainly it's a big game in the Western Division, and we needed to do that. And I was really impressed with our staff and our players to have the ability to go do that.
You mentioned Texas State. Are there any particular areas that you see improvement from them over the last couple of years?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's many areas where they haven't gotten better. I think defensively they're much more gap sound. I think they're tackling better. I think offensively, the quarterback is a problem. His mobility, his instincts and ability to make the unannounced play. They've got matchup players at receiver. The backs are tough to tackle and a tough match in the passing game. And, they don't have the returners that they used to have, but these guys have always been exceptional on special teams. So more than one area, I think it's the combination of all 3 together. Really well-coached outfit. And I think they're playing with really good effort and toughness right now.
If I could ask one more future-type question. I know you've got a lot of other things going, but Sun Belt looks like it's in the middle of an expansion with some teams coming in, at least one sort of nearby team and others that you're familiar with from your past. What was your first reaction to all that, and what does that say for the Sun Belt as far as sort of validating what they've done over the last few years?
Well, I think, the big thing is I think the Sun Belt over the last 4 or 5 years has really created some momentum. I think it's created stability, and I think the national reputation and the brand of football, not only competitive on the field, but I think just from a coaching and personnel standpoint, has garnered respect with other Group of 5 leagues and certainly Power 5 competition. So I think we were in position to take advantage, and we certainly look to be taking advantage. So, we've got good leadership. We had good leadership in the past. We continue that currently. I think the president and ADs within our conference have put their heads together. They're committed to athletics. And certainly have invested resources into the programs, and I think we're well positioned for the future. So it's an exciting time to be a part of this league.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Thank you, Dan, and thank you, Coach. Appreciate your time today.
All right, guys. Thank you all.
Thank you. And we are now joined with Chip Lindsey, the head coach of Troy. If you have a question for Coach, please dial *1 on your phone at this time. Again, *1 to get in the queue. Coach, thank you for joining us. Would you mind starting us off with the opening statement?
Sure. Appreciate you guys being here on a bye week this past week. So was able to get a lot of rest and get some guys somewhat healthy. We're in pretty good shape health-wise overall, but just kind of get refreshed. We had 3 good days of practice last week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Got out on the road recruiting on Friday, and then got the guys back in here on Sunday. Sunday's like a Tuesday for us now, playing on Thursday night, and obviously we'll practice again today and tomorrow, and head to Coastal on Wednesday. Looking forward to this opportunity to play a really good football team on national TV, and these are the kind of games our guys, I think come to Troy for these opportunities, and just need to finish this week off right preparation-wise. obviously getting ready to play a really talented football team. So, any questions?
Yes, sir. As a reminder to our members of the media, *1 to get in the queue. First questions come from Alan Blonin with the Myrtle Beach Sun News. Please go ahead, Alan.
Hey, Coach. It looks like Gunner's got the starting position for you, quarterback-wise. Was that based on injury or performance, the change there? And what do you think he brings to the team that gives you an advantage?
Yeah, I'd say probably a little bit of both. Taylor got banged up pretty good at South Carolina, and obviously we felt like the turnovers kept us from having an opportunity to win that game, and so Taylor was not able to go the following week, and Gunner played well, and he's played well the last 2 times out. So I think a little bit of combination of both. We feel really good about both of them. It's always good to have 2 guys that have played before. I think that's important. But right now we're going with Gunner, and looking forward to seeing how he'll play Thursday.
And you get Coastal Carolina team off a loss. I mean, would you prefer to have them coming off a win or a loss? Do you think it makes a difference to the team's mentality in the next game?
Oh, I don't know if that makes a difference or not. I mean, just my experience is teams prepare each and every week. And, you better have a short memory and move on to the next one. And I'm sure that they'll do the same. Good football team, good coaches. I think, they got a mature team, kind of a veteran team. I think they'll regroup pretty well, and I'm sure we'll get their best shot on Thursday.
All right, and do you expect a similar game to what you guys have had with Coastal in recent years? I mean, they've all come down to last couple have come right down to the last play for the most part.
Yeah, I tell you what, we've had two shootouts with them for sure. Obviously, I'd like for them to be similar, but us come out on the win. But at the same time, each year's different, man. Each team's different, and I know this. We're gonna have to be really, really well prepared and play extremely well to have a chance to win the football game.
Okay, thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Alan. Our next question comes from Dan McDonald, The Advocate. Please go ahead, Dan.
Morning, Coach. Your guys were able to slow down Texas State's running game. Appalachian State's able to slow down Coastal's running game last week. How big a key is that going to be for you coming in for your guys?
Well, yeah, I think it's huge. I mean, anytime you can stop the run, I think gives you an opportunity. Obviously, I think Coastal presents a different challenge by their style, the way they run the football, more option-based seems like, and they make you defend, they make you play really disciplined defense, and and obviously they got good players they're doing it with. So I think each week's a different challenge, but I think any good football team stopping the run is extremely important, and I think our defense throughout the year has been pretty good at that. At the same time, they got other playmakers that can hurt you. Obviously, the tight end and the receiver are really good players, but the quarterback makes them go. So hopefully we can limit the opportunities they present, but it's going to be a tough challenge for sure.
If I could ask one more sort of a future type question. Looks like the Sun Belt is in the middle of a significant expansion. You're going to get a fairly close-by rival in southern Mississippi. What was your first reaction to all of this, and is this sort of a validation of where the Sun Belt's come over the last few years?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's kind of exciting in a lot of regards. Obviously Southern Miss coming in, I think is if that's a done deal, then I think that would be a great addition to our league. I really believe we got the top G5 league in the country, and it all started with a trickle-down effect, I guess, with the SEC expanding. But I know our leadership in our conference is outstanding, and I'm sure that we're going to add guys to our league if it makes sense. And I think, if we get a Southern Miss in our league, that does, we've played those guys twice since I've been here already. I think it makes sense geographically, and, some like-minded schools coming in this league will make our league even stronger.
Appreciate it, Coach.
All right, thanks.
All right, thank you, Dan. Thank you, Coach. Do appreciate your time today.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you. And we are joined with Shawn Elliott, the head coach of Georgia State. If you have a question for Coach, please dial *1 on your phone at this time. Again, *1 to get in the queue. Coach, thank you very much for joining us today. Would you mind starting us off with an opening statement?
Sure. Good afternoon to everyone. Yeah, let's just recap Saturday. What a great Saturday it was. We get another conference win over a gritty Texas State team that came in here and gave us fits, and we were able to pull that win out on a homecoming day. That it was just overall a really, really good day. Beautiful weather, great football, and the Atlanta Braves, making their trek to the World Series later on that evening. So we were just thrilled to death about it. Proud of our team, a lot of accomplishments. We had a couple guys go over 1,000 yards in career receiving and rushing, and Tucker Gregg and Roger Carter. Had another turnover interception there in the secondary with Jay Jones, and it was just a good hard fought battle right to the end. So, we understand we've got others coming up, so we kind of handle it with day by day. The victory was good for a day, Saturday night, and we got to work on Georgia Southern yesterday.
Thank you, Coach. As a reminder for members of the media to star one to get in the queue. First questions come from Dan McDonald, The Advocate. Please go ahead, Dan.
Morning, Coach. You were really able to get the running game going against Texas State. How was there something that you were able to see in what they were doing schematically, or was it just your guys able to? They talked about just getting out physical up front.
Of course, we look every single week to try to find the way to run the football, and it was just a combination of things. Yeah, there were some good schemes, but let's don't take it away from the guys that actually block and run that football with the, starting with our 5 offensive linemen and our 2 tight ends and our backs. I don't want to bore you and name all their names off, but they did a very nice job putting hats on hats, and we got some perimeter runs with our quarterback, and it just came together, and we've been doing that the last couple of weeks, and hopefully continue to get better as this season progresses.
This is a rivalry game, and has really developed into even more of a rivalry, I think, over the last couple of years. How big is this game? Because your guys can still make some noise at the end of the year.
Well, anytime we're sitting here with 1 loss in our conference, and we've got several games ahead, several big games, and it starts with this game. Georgia Southern is I call it a rivalry. I mean, I certainly do. We got 2 Division I institutions in the same conference that's vying for a championship in a conference that's tough, and so it is going to be a big game for us. One of the things that we have to really, really do in a game like this is keep our heads cool and go out there and play the game of football and not let this game, sometimes rivalries or whatever can get a little bit of chippy and get out of control, but keep our focus and practice hard this week. And, we understand the environment we're going into. Georgia Southern's got a long tradition of, great crowds and fan support, and they've got a good football team, a dangerous football team. So, like I said, we got our work cut out for us.
And I have to ask, Braves Astros.
Well, considering I just brought Sunday night World Series tickets, I'm going with the Bravos. How about that?
Good for
Braves
you.
all the way.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Dan, and thank you, Coach. Please enjoy that game for all of us, and that's all the time we have for you today.
It's going to be a good one. I wish y'all could come up here. It's going to
All right, Coach, appreciate it. And to our members of the media, that will conclude this week's teleconference. Please feel free to reach out to the conference office if we can assist you with anything else. A copy of this will be posted on sunbeltsports.org later today, and we hope everybody has a great week. Thanks again.